Is that okay?
Yep. Okay, and let's begin.
Okay.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Method to Madness podcast.
Well, are you live or no?
We are live.
Oh.
We are absolutely live right now. If people are watching, people are watching. If people aren't watching, they'll just watch it. They'll listen to this on, Spotify and on YouTube. So it's like not that big of a loss on anything like that. But this is a podcast where I get to interview a lot of comedians, actresses, and singers in Toronto to see what makes them tick, to see what makes them think. And I'm actually really excited for my guest today. It is the beautiful and talented Jas Dhanda.
Hi.
Hi. So, how's everything been so far?
I'm wildly busy.
I would imagine that. Am I allowed to say what your outside career from all of this is?
I don't really have an outside career. I would just say that I'm a hustler. Hey.
Okay, so you're a diva.
I got a real estate license, and it's not what I thought it was going to be, so I still realize I still love acting and comedy way more, and I like being an artist.
Doesn't everyone?
Real estate has its own perks, knowing how to invest your money and buying to grow and having financial wealth, which a lot of as artists don't have that information.
Mm-hmm.
And so that I'm very fortunate to have owned a property, sold a property, and now I'm able to try to help other people and other artists make those decisions and invest and grow their wealth so that, they're not just relying on being an artist.
No, true. But I'd say because you're kind of a salesman at the same time, you're trying to sell a house and trying.
I don't think I'm really a salesperson.
Yeah.
I think I'm just good at talking to anybody, anywhere, because I practice that in my daily life anyway. I talk to this person. I'm the one person that you don't want to meet at the grocery store or the airport or the subway, because I'll end up chatting with you anyways.
So you're just a natural talker, very extroverted.
I think I'm making up for not talking up till high school.
Oh,
so my mom says I think I'm making up for being a quiet kid.
Okay, I feel that because when I was younger, I was very quiet and shy, but when people started hearing me going, then that was the whole thing. And so you like comedy, you've liked acting, so how long have you been doing the acting? I know that would be longer than your comedy.
I did my first play when I was in grade 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a kid with asthma, so I never played sports.
Mm-hmm.
And theater was I gravitated towards it, and it kept me from coming home to do chores. So I loved it. It was fun, but I never thought it was a career because no one ever said that you got paid money. I always thought rich white people acted, and because they acted for free because they had the money and they could do it.
Okay. So...
But I never saw anyone like me on TV outside of Bollywood.
Mm-hmm.
And Bollywood also seemed like a closed off business because it's just, generations of family of family of family. It's like a closed off business. And so I never thought that it was possible to be on TV. Just thought it was rich white people doing it.
So because Bollywood was you felt it was more of nepotism more than anything.
No, I had no clue how. My parents, my mom's an artist. I'd say she loves painting as a hobby. No one in my family is an actor.
Mm-hmm.
No one that I know of is an actor or performer, other than my brother, but I won't mention his name.
Okay, no problem.
To respect him, I love him. It being an artist is scary when you're South Asian. It comes with its own complications of uncertainty, and parents want you to have stability. They didn't come for this country for you to be throw away your life and just, be a homeless
starving artist,
whatever word.
I completely understand about that because there's no one in my family that has an art background as well.
Yeah.
Because my is very much the sciences and the maths and just.
Also, Bollywood has a reputation. When I was a kid, everybody who was anybody was if you're going to be a good Indian girl and find yourself a husband one day, you're not going to do Bollywood. I'm why not? And it's the sexual repression in the South Asian community where it's taboo to talk about sex. So the way my dad phrased it was look, Bollywood is prostitution. Okay? And if you want a good man, no one's going to marry you if you're an actress in India. It's like, okay, like, is that your justification as to why I can't be a performer? So
it was just like, how do I...
It's like, India, Bollywood is hooking. And I'm like, I don't understand what you mean by hooking.
I think he means like one night stands.
I know what he means. I'm just saying the word hooking. No one uses that unless you're a fisherman.
True.
You're like hooking bait.
Okay, so like that, your whole thing was just like basically to get out of chores, and you want...
Yeah, so yeah, I did theater in grade 3, but my first role was I was a tree branch, or like a tree, and I joined the choir. But my parents were always encouraging me to do the performing arts because, like, I did youth in growing up, and my sister and I played harmonium, and we performed like Sikh hymns, and we sang at the gurdwaras across Ontario. We entered competitions through our gurdwara. And so I grew up with like music, and I grew up with youth, and my mom was very anal about us coloring within the lines when we were kids. We were those kids that could not scribble outside the lines in a coloring book. It had to be perfect. So my mom made sure that we colored within the lines and drew everything perfectly. Like, it's just, my mom was like, that was her one pet peeve. Like, these kids where they have painting on the walls and like hand painting, that would never fly with my mom.
It sounds like obsessive compulsive disorder.
It's like, if you want to color within the lines.
It has to be within the lines.
So like, we were always considered, like, art, being an artist is like, I get it from my mom, I would say. I don't think really my dad has a creative bone in him. My dad thinks he's funny though. I think in another lifetime he would have been a comedian because he loves entertaining and making people laugh. But my mom's the artist in the family, and all her sisters, like, they do everything in traditionally in India where you're like sewing and embroidery and painting, and you know, even food is an art for my mom. So I think my mom gave us the artistry, and like when I did a play in grade 8. I joined drama classes in grade 6 as the president of Magic Club in high school and Video Club, and I made my first short films in high school. I directed my first short films. I filmed and edited on a massive, giant computer wall for VHS tapes back in the day. And I was the person with the camera, and I walked around the school with the camera, and I just videotaped all the events, all the ceremonies. I was part of the MC program. I was a host. I loved giving speeches and talking. I wasn't shy to talk. I also did voiceovers for the announcements in the morning. So like, I was always involved in school, and I was very fortunate to be a part of the arts. We even competed with the Etobicoke School of the Arts. And it was in grade 10 or 11, my drama teacher said, Jaspreet, I think that you should consider not acting. Maybe that was her way of telling me I wasn't a good actor. But I think it was just because I wasn't emotionally available, because I was so closed off. Because when you're Indian, you don't really talk about your emotions at home. You're not allowed to have feelings. Like, it's like...
Hear that, people? No feelings.
If you're gonna cry about something, it's like, what are you crying for? Shut up, suck it up, and keep going. You know, like, there's no room when you're a person of color to, like, fall flat on your face. Like, you pick yourself up and you keep going. Right? Like, so that my dad taught me that mentality. Like, you can fall flat on your face 1,000 times. Don't let anybody see you stop and give up. Keep going. And I learned that from my dad. He had so many failed businesses, and he's taught me how to hustle and work hard, so I get that from him. But yeah, like, I went to university for something completely different because I never thought I could be an actor.
Okay, so like, I'm just saying this because, like, you brought up, like, losing and falling and, like, being told no all the time. And like,
I wasn't told no, but, like, what does a white teacher in a high school of diversity has a right to be like, no, you can't be an actor? Like, I don't even know what acting is. I didn't even know if it could be a career. I think it's just, sometimes people will gently either encourage you in that direction or they won't. But I think that, like, I was always gravitated towards it. And I did have a media teacher who just gave me the keys to the camera and the sound equipment and said, go film, make whatever you want. And that allowed me the access to learn all the frames and angles of a camera, like a close-up, a medium close-up, how to put together a short film and edit it in high school. But I never thought it was a career. Again, I thought rich white people did it in front of the camera and behind the camera. because no one like me looked like anybody on TV. But I also didn't grow up with Hollywood. I grew up with Bollywood. I'd watch 4 Bollywood films every Sunday as a kid. MTV and all those channels were blocked for us. Anything with a little bit of skin showing, my dad blocked.
A very conservative, like, immigrant family.
Yeah, like if there was any sort of hand holding and touching, you would fast forward the scenes in all Bollywood movies. So
I think she is describing the difference between a West Indian family and an East Indian family.
I'm Punjabi. So.
Yeah, I'm Trinidadian.
Yeah, no, we're completely opposite of you guys.
Yeah, because like my dad literally just saw 2 people having sex and he just like stone faced it. I was 6 years old when this happened. And he just like,
yeah, no,
I
didn't even know what sex looked like until probably university. So.
Oh god, you had to learn that in the textbooks.
Nope. No. Again, it's sex is taboo in India, right? It's sexual repression where women don't explore their bodies, or it's not something we talk about. And when you do, people get shy about it. And it's like this. It's like it takes Bollywood back in the 90s and the early 2000s 5 minutes to make maybe a kiss, and then it turns out to be a peck.
It's like literally all those slow motion blurs.
Like there's a whole song making fun of kissing. It's like chuma chuma de zara, and like that's far as they go. Like it's just even now they do have sex scenes, but you'll never see a topless South Asian woman in a Bollywood film. It doesn't happen, or bikinis. Right? So I grew up in a very conservative household, but my sisters and I challenged all of the rules that my parents had or expectations of us growing up. So getting back to I started in grade 3 and I did it till grade 12. I took drama all the way to grade 12 from grade 6. So I had, introduction to Shakespeare, and, film and TV and monologues and all of that stuff was taught to me, but I just never thought it was a career.
Do you think all that stuff right now has helped you in your comedy? Like, it is like...
Comedy's a different field, I would say. Yeah. I don't think that all actors can be comedians or all comedians can be actors.
I agree.
I think it comes from a level of... I don't know. I'll let you continue with your point.
No. It's okay. You can... Because I agree with you. Like, not all actors can be comedians. Not all comedians can be actors. Because, like... I have seen Chris Rock flub many a role.
The irony is, I actually don't watch a lot of comedy.
You don't?
Like, I know. Funny enough, people say, they've watched every single Netflix special out there. Or
I don't.
I've watched, bits of Kevin Hart and Dave Chappelle and Veer Das. I actually got to perform with Veer Das back in 2016.
Ooh.
That was a cool experience. That kid was already funny when I was down there. I've performed in LA, I've performed in Toronto. It's not my first day. I started comedy back in 2010.
I know.
And I took a break in 2016. I just got back into it last year of November for reasons.
For reasons? Do you want to go into those reasons?
A friend of mine died.
Oh, okay.
Was diagnosed with a very severe illness, and he was one of my best friends, and he'd been doing comedy. I kept telling him oh man, I used to do comedy back in the day, 2010, 2016. He's like, so why aren't you anymore? And anybody I talk to, I'm a very blunt person. I'm very outspoken, and I can be very brass. I'm not saying that I'm cutthroat, but I say it how it is sometimes without thinking. And I'm also someone who wears her heart on her sleeve, so I'm very open about everything. I don't hide a lot of stuff. So sometimes I say things like talk about sexuality or personal experiences out loud to anybody anywhere, including strangers, without a filter. And people kept telling me, you're really funny. I'm I don't think I'm funny. I'm I probably need to go to therapy, but I'm not paying for it. So comedy became my therapy. Because when you find out that one of your closest friends has cancer and you don't know how long they have, and then a family member of yours also gets diagnosed with a terminal illness, the world starts crumbling around you. And I felt 2 years in the pandemic, I didn't know who I was anymore. I love acting, But acting wasn't in person anymore. There was no physical contact. Everything's a self-tape. So I found a whole community in comedy, and without even realizing it or asking for it. I still don't think I'm funny. I really don't.
Do you? I think you are.
Everyone around me thinks I'm funny, and maybe that's because I don't think I'm funny. I just get up there and I do my thing. But that's because to me it's still therapy, and I feel like I have a lot of therapy to go through. So, and I'm up there just pouring my heart out to the audience with my stories, and a lot of those stories are just relatable to people, I think, and that's the message I've been getting from people, is that they can relate to what I'm saying on a cultural level and a personal level.
That's a very strong point, because like one of those things that you have to do in comedy is always like relate with your audience and make your stuff relatable. I
don't try to.
I know, but like the fact that you're not even trying is like steps ahead of most people. Like, and I'm just like sitting down here going like I think it's the reason why you don't think you're funny is because you're your own worst critic.
No, because I wouldn't laugh at my own jokes. Like, I wouldn't. I laugh if I do crowd work. Like, I've picked on people in the audience. But that's because I've told the same story at every stage now over and over again. And sometimes I tell it differently, and sometimes... I don't think I'm a true comic because the comedians around me write their jokes down. And they look at me, and I just go up there, and I kind of wing it. And I don't tell that to a lot of comedians anymore because I feel like a fake. And they're like, what, you don't write your jokes down? You didn't think about this? I'm like, I tend not to do a lot of thinking anymore. I tend to just do.
But you know what? That's fair, because everyone has their own recipe.
I don't think it's a recipe. I think it's therapy. You know, when you go to see your therapist or psychiatrist or psychologist, they ask you questions and you're literally telling this complete stranger something. And they're maybe just not even writing things down and sketching behind their iPad or something, you know? But to do it in front of an entire audience and to feel completely naked and let your heart and soul pour out on that stage through a story that my trauma is funny kind of just heals the trauma.
It is. It makes you feel like you can actually overcome it.
So like I'm starting to think like maybe all the comedians are just depressed. I don't think I'm depressed. I think just I've grown up with a lot of I'm ripping the Band-Aid off on a lot of things.
All comedians are depressed. We all have, like, I forget.
I don't like that word.
Yeah,
I just don't like the word depression. I feel like we put labels on everything. Why can't we just tell stories?
Exactly. And it's the other thing too, like you're right, like I don't like labels on things. Like, what was it? This older comedian, I forget his name. I completely forget it. He told me this. He's like, being like, everything has a word now. Back in the day, we just did it as it was.
I think it's just if people did things with passion behind it, you would feel it would come out naturally.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Let me just see here what we can go to the next subject. So basically, you kind of killed two birds with one stone there. So that what got you into comedy was just basically the therapeutic.
Not the first time around.
Not the first time around?
First time around, my mom has this joke. She's like, you come home and you damag khao, like ser khana sada bo khaniya. It's like eat their brain. She's like, why don't you go annoy other people? And I'm like, my mom always says I never had a place to just talk and like get all of this stuff off my chest. And so I one day a friend of mine was like, I heard about comedy. And I'm like, so you guys just pull a name out of a bucket? And they're like, yeah, and this is 2010. So we're at a local bar, and they had invited me out to this comedy thing. And I was like, cool, I'll come check it out. Got a beer, went on stage, and I talked. I didn't know that there was a light back then, like that cued you. I just kept talking the first time around, and I kept talking. And I think I talked for a good 20 minutes. And the audience was just laughing, and it was like 7 people in the room. And I don't know what happened in that moment. I was like, I like this. This feels easy. I can just get up here and talk, and these people are forced to listen to me. This is powerful. I like this superpower. I get to talk, and these people have to sit there and listen. And they pay to come listen or buy a drink. This is awesome. I I like this. I can keep doing this. And so I did. I kept just doing mic after mic. A friend of mine, Michael Harrison, he's a really funny comedian. I had met him doing background work when I first started acting. How I got into acting is a whole other wild card story. And Michael was like, you need to hit up open mics. And I was like, all right, cool. So I hit up a few mics with him, and then like, back then I think without like Facebook and all these groups that you have now today, it just, comedy feels like a close-knit group sometimes to me. And sometimes it feels like they only let some people into the clique and not other people because they think that you haven't paid your dues. And I don't believe in that. I think that if you have talent, I don't care if you're an actor, comedian, rapper, or singer, you don't have to pay your dues. Just do it.
Yeah, I agree with that too. It's just more lines of like, if you're good, you're just good. You're
just good, you're good.
Yeah.
Because people will resonate with you and the audiences will want to see you again. But you're also humble enough to be like, yeah, I still have a lot of work to do. I'm not perfect. And these people have years on me in perfecting their, but maybe what they've done in 5 years, I can do in a year, and why not? Right? Like, why does it have to take 5 years? Why can't it take a year? Why is there a timeline to begin with anyway? There's no rule or Bible for comedy that says you have to do 5 years. You know what I mean?
There's nothing.
It's not like being a doctor. It's like, you can't just show up at a hospital and be like, yo, I'm going to do brain surgery today. You know, you can't.
You can't.
I don't even know what nerves connect where. Like, I just be like, this is your brain. I can massage your head and maybe fix it, but I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to show up and do open heart surgery on someone that I didn't go to school for this. I barely will know what to do when I have a headache. Like, what am I going to try to fix someone's like surgery? So, I think that there are certain careers that, that have a straightforward path, and there are other careers that don't, and your journey takes you your way, and everybody has a different journey.
And the thing about comedy is that there's no right way of doing it, but there's a whole bunch of wrong ways. But there's also like...
What do you mean?
Like, what I mean by like doing it the wrong way is like you're going out of your depth way too soon, like in certain subject matter. Like, think of it like going to the gym and lifting weights.
No, why?
Because, like, how do I explain this?
Like, what subject matter?
Like, what subject matter? Like, if, like, someone makes, like, an LGBT joke, or someone makes, like...
Isn't it all experimental?
It's all experimental. And
it's subjective?
It's all subjective, too. I say that with, like, I agree that anyone should go and try anything
and it's not coming from a hateful place.
Yes, exactly.
I feel like the whole world's just become too sensitive to comedy. Be respectful, be kind. If you're up there and you're just discriminating and hating and racial profiling, there are spaces for you to do that in your home, in a closet, maybe with other friends. Or start a podcast and vent, but...
Not on this podcast.
I don't agree. I think that if you want to aim for the moon and fall for the clouds, you can.
I know. I agree with what you're saying. I 100% agree. It's not like... I'm saying, like, it's kind of one of those things that, like, when you're trying things out, like, you don't know how to pace a joke at the beginning. Like, for example...
I can't relate to that.
I know, like, when it comes to me, like, I'm very structured. You're very, like, off the cuff and go.
I'm a spontaneous person who'll just jump on a plane and leave tomorrow and not think about what, where, when, or how. I just go with the flow.
I admire that so much. Because, like, I'm very structured in my thinking and everything. Like, it has to go, like... I have to go point by point by point. But that's what I mean by, like, I don't exactly know the pace. I didn't... Like, there was a joke that I made earlier in my career. I'm still going to make it. It's in my back burner. And I don't want to say it right now because it's kind
I think people are too rigid and they realize that life is about ebb and flow. You know, it's like driving. You learn how to drive with the rules and the stuff. But if you're too slow on the highway, you could easily get hit by a car.
Exactly.
Trying to change lanes. Now, if you're too fast, you could also get hit by a car. But there's like a flow that you find. Once you've driven your car, like for example, my car I've had over 6 years now, I know every single sound that she makes. And if there's like anything wrong, I can pick up on it. Because like I've driven it.
For that long.
So, in terms of your comedy, I'm just saying that the more you do, the more, the more you try and fall. Like my dad, you never know what's going to work and what's not going to work. One joke lands today and how it doesn't land next week. Now you just got to learn how to switch it on the fly.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like, it's a constantly evolving art. you always keep changing it on the.
I have no clue. Again, I don't know what I'm doing.
Exactly. But that's fine. Like it's like
I'm just ambitious.
You're just ambitious, and I love that ambition, and it's actually really good. And I'm glad that you're actually explaining all this and how you're thinking and all that, because like there are many different ways of coming at it, and yours ways is just like that.
My way is just my way, but I'm also not new to it. Like the first few times I did it, yes, I talked a lot. Was it funny? Maybe for a few people. When I play it back today, I'm like, what were you thinking? And it's taken 7 years for one joke to finally start resonating. Like, but I was in LA in 2014 and 2016, and I just hit up mics. I went to Flappers. I was recently in Los Angeles last year when I had just gotten into comedy, and I hit up Hollywood Improv, and hit up the Laugh Factory. And I literally just went up to people and asked questions like, hey, where can I go do this? What can I do with this? If you ask the right questions, the world will align around you to get you there.
Yeah.
And I met Neil Nanda in last year, actually, at a comedy show. And I hadn't started comedy yet. This was July of last year. And a friend of mine I got to see Ali Wong perform in this underground club. It's all these celebrities that come and do like open mic in this underground club in Manhattan Beach. And all these celebrity people were performing that they are on Netflix, and you see their face. And Ali Wong came up, and I was like, huh.
Why are you here?
She's hilarious.
She is.
And she's short. And I'm like, yo, I'm short like that too. And a friend of mine, I was telling him, like, I used to do comedy. He's like, why'd you stop? I'm like, I don't know, life happened. I picked acting over comedy. He's like, why can't you do both? He's like, well, there's an open mic night happening at this guy's house next week. And if you're still in town, you want to hit it up? I was like, sure. So I prepared. Look, my way of doing things is making bullet list of things. And only I know what that bullet joke means. My brain knows it like a grocery list. And so I was prepping it, and the guy wouldn't let me go on. I'm like, one day, sir, I'm going to come back here in 5 years or 3 years, and you're going to let me go up and perform. Because you don't know who I am today, but you will. Because he said no to me because he's like, I don't know who you are. I've never seen you perform. I don't think you're funny. I'm like, you won't know if I'm funny if you don't let me go
Exactly.
up. And I'm out of town. I fly back to Canada next week. And I'm like, isn't this an open mic? And that's when I realized, like, he's just power tripping. And it's like, dude, there's no... Also, this is one of my biggest, I think... There's not a lot of women of color in comedy. Or women in general in comedy. Like, all these shows that I've been hitting up and the mics that I've been doing, I'm like that one token brown girl or one woman just there in comedy. And I'm starting to see more women do it, and it's exciting. And I'm so happy that more women and women of color are doing comedy at the open mics and shows across North America, and it's really exciting.
Like, I will say this, like, one of the strongest comedians in all of Toronto, I'd say, is Hannah Valdoon. She's like, she still has those jokes that just make me fall on the floor laughing, because one of them was a medical joke, and I just kind of like died. I'm like, why the fuck would you know that?
Yeah, and that's where I feel like the comedy is kind of closed off. And I met Neil there, and I didn't know who Neil Nanda was at the time. And you know when you promise someone to something before you even know how to do it? Neil's like, yo man, I'd love to do a show in Toronto. I'm like, dude, I was so naive and how to run a show. I was like, yeah, I can help you with that. How hard is it to run and produce a comedy show?
Oh my god.
And he's like, we just need a venue. I'm like, yeah, dude. Like, Russell Peters did Massey Hall. Why can't you do Massey Hall? We could do Massey Hall. And like, I promised to deliver, and months went by. But also, like, I emailed Yuck Yucks and I got to go up. Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing?
If Russell Peters can do Massey Hall, why can't you?
Why not? I don't get why that's so funny.
Because like you're shooting for the freaking like you're like there's Mount Everest. How about the moon though?
Yeah, why not?
Like with like. That ambition that you have is
Listen,
just like...
if you aim to walk, you crawl first anyways, right? Like, my mom always tells me, sometimes she thinks that I learned to walk before I could even crawl. So, I I'm ambitious like my dad, like I said. So, but sometimes you honestly, I believe sometimes you say things I say things without thinking. Mm-hmm. And I'm also coming from a naive place. So I was like, yeah, sure, dude. I can help you like make your show in Toronto. Like, yo, that'd be so dope. Because my manager can't hook me up with. I also did not know that Neil Nanda had done Jimmy Kimmel and all these other shows before. So I was just like, dude, you're funny. Yeah, let's bring you to Toronto. Like, how hard could it be? Like, just get to a venue. And I was coming from the mentality that I used to be a classical Indian dancer. I did Kathak. And my dance teacher put up shows at the National Ballet School of Canada and all these other theater places. And I'm also coming from an acting background. So I've seen friends put up the Fringe plays. I've seen friends do plays. How hard could it be to produce a comedy show, right? So I was like, yeah, sure, dude, I can do it. And then months went by and then my friend got sick. And I was like, why am I not getting into comedy? He's like, yeah, you keep saying it. Do it. It's like, yeah, man, if your DOS has a Netflix special already, imagine where I could have been if I hadn't quit comedy back in 2016. Like, I opened the show at this like random bar cafe in Los Angeles, and then Veer Das performed, and the guy was hilarious. And to see him have a Netflix special and to be opening in a cricket stadium, this guy is more ambitious than I am. He wants to open in front of a cricket stadium in front of an entire audience.
Where, in India? Or?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Like, he's going on a world tour. Like, I think it's a third world tour. Like, that's the level. If that's possible, why not? I'd love to do that. I'm not there yet, but
we'd all love to do
one day. No, I'm like, why not in 2 years? Like, I'm not trying to be Beyonce, but I'm just saying.
No,
like,
be Beyonce, go for it.
But I'm just like, why not aim high and fall flat, but at least you still landed in the clouds? If you don't even have ambition to try to get up to do something, like, I don't. Sometimes, like, I never went into comedy with, oh, yo, I'm going to be famous from it. I still don't think I'm funny. I still don't think I'm going to have a Netflix special. It'd be nice to, but I don't think I'm going to. Because it's not a career for me. Like, I love it. I don't know where it's going. Acting is my priority, and I love it. Comedy is, like, my porn. Like, I get off on it. Like, it's a high.
Oh my.
I get high on stage from it naturally. Like, I don't do pot, but when I'm on that stage, I don't know what happens to me, but I'm there, I'm connected, and it's like magic.
It's like that white light just hits you and you're just like, what? You just go?
It's like this feeling, I don't know how to explain it. Like, when I'm in front of the camera, I'm there, I'm home, I feel at home. It's scary how comfortable I am on the stage. Like, it's a little scary. I get up there, I'm like, yep, it's like riding a bike. And I know not everyone can ride a bike, but to me, when I'm on that stage, it's like, I feel like a friend of mine says, I'm in my element. And I didn't know that it could feel this good. So, yeah, like, I don't know where the journey of comedy is going to take me, but so I did end up producing the show for Neil Nanda. That was my first production. Can you believe, like, the first show I ever produced with the help of another comedian, my friend. So because, like, with comedy being such a small circle, I was hitting up 4 to 5 open mics every single day for like 6 weeks.
Shit.
When I first started, I went hard, and it was nice because it was the Christmas holidays and like not a lot of comedians are in town, so it's quiet. So you can literally go every day. I met every single open mic. I met every single comedian who ran those shows during the holidays, and I got an opportunity to, like, my first performance was at it's Brett's place on Saturdays, and I messaged every single person on Instagram, hey, where can I do comedy? Where can I do comedy? I messaged everybody. I think I messaged like 50 people in one night. And Chris Moose, he was like, there's no comedy here tonight, but I know that Brett's place on Saturdays has comedy. Do you want to go there?
It was Dumpster Fire, right?
Dumpster Fire, and I ended up doing 15 minutes of just talking. And I should have recorded that. So that was my first set in since 2016. And I just talked, and everyone was on the floor laughing. And I'm like, what just happened? I'm just talking about vibrators and tampons and sex. And my comedy has become very adult comedy, I think, in the sense that I'm learning my voice in comedy, which I didn't know what it was until recently, which is about women's empowerment. if I went to India, they would just kick me out of the country because, like, I'd be teaching women about sexual freedom. It's like, why can't we talk about the thing that we invented, the Kama Sutra? Like, why?
You could bring that up so much. Like
I do, though, and it's about sexual freedom. Like, so, yeah, like, I hit up all the mics as much as I could, and that's where I had met Ashwin on open mic night. Not an open mic night. A friend of mine was in town, Mike, and Ashwin had just finished a show, and he was sitting around. And I just, again, I talk to anybody anywhere. And I'm a little too bold. So I was like, hey, you're a comedian. I had no idea who Ashwin was at this time. And I'm like, I would really want to know, like, how did you end up doing all this and, like, blah, blah, blah. So I followed him on IG. I asked him a bunch of questions. We met up for chai, Punjabi, and he's probably upset because I took him for a vegan chai, which apparently isn't real chai. But I like oat milk because I'm lactose intolerant. So we had chai, we talked about it, and while I was driving back home to his place, I mentioned Neil Nanda and organizing a show for him, and he's like, I organize shows all the time. I can help you. And the light bulb went off. Like, that's it. He can help me do something I've never done before, which is produce a show for one of the biggest, hottest upcoming comedians in Los Angeles from Atlanta. And that's where it started. And, like, we called Comedy Bar and emailed and got a spot. And I ended up opening for Neil. Ashwin performed. Ashwin got a couple other comedians on board. And we did 2 shows, almost sold out, 150 capacity for 2 nights in a row. And I had done what I didn't think was possible. I promised to deliver something, and I did, even though at the moment I was like, I just promised somebody a Ferrari, and I don't know if I can get a Ferrari, but I did. So,
you gave him the Ferrari.
Yeah, and it was a great show. Somehow ended up being all brown people, but the audience, he killed the show. Ashwin killed the show, too. Ashwin's hilarious.
Oh, yes.
Neil's hilarious. And it was nice to be like, yo, I just helped co-produce the show. If I can do it once, why not do it again? So there's a little addiction there of being on stage, but also being able to give other comedians an outlet to do a show in front of an entire audience. There's something fun about it.
Oh, absolutely. Like, because, like, you're getting all those people together and they're all having a good time, and you're getting that natural high from it, as you said. Because, like,
again, I apologize. I've been talking for so long. Like, you ask a question, I go on a rant.
It's no problem. This is what I want. Because this is why I want to make this show happen, is because it makes people like you get on a soapbox. It makes people understand why they have to care about you and care about.
I don't care if anyone cares about me. I'm not in it or in this business for others to recognize me or care for me. I'm in it for my own artistry, and that's where it's selfish, right? Like, this is the one thing that I'm doing for myself that no one can take away from me.
And that's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm not working my 9 to... I've had over 75 different jobs.
What?
Yeah, that's a different story, too. You're fired a lot.
I just sounded like Tim Allen there for a second. Like, Home Improvement.
Oh,
yeah, you didn't grow up with...
I watched it, I just didn't know his name. Again, pop culture is not my biggest forte.
90s.
I could never win Jeopardy.
I'm the opposite of you. Like, everyone says, why don't you go on Jeopardy, man? Cause, like,
my brain farts everything out. It doesn't remember anything that's not important or relevant to me.
Okay, so, like, upon from that, like, this is... I have another question. And you said you don't really watch a lot of comedy, but, like, this question is a broad stroking...
No, I plan on it. Yeah. Now that I'm really... I've been at it hardcore. Like, I don't say, like... I've been at it head first for the last 6 months. And I've done over 20 shows already. Book shows. And I've done over, I'd say, more than 200 times, like, open mics worth of times I've done it. And it's time I probably watch some good comedy. Like... just to see them and understand them. But here's the scary thing. I was on ChatGPT, and I was like, hey, ChatGPT, write me a joke inspired by Dave Chappelle's style. And it did. Yeah. And it was funny. I was like, fuck. I don't know if I can say fuck.
You can say fuck.
I don't actually... See, here's the one thing. When I got into comedy, I started swearing less because I watched my playback, and I've noticed, like, a lot of comedians use the F word a lot. And I was like... words have so much power, so let me be selective with the words I use. So You get the same point across without saying
You can.
fudge this, fudge that, right? So
No, you can say fuck on here all you want. I don't care.
why am I going to swear in English when I can swear in Punjabi?
You can-
Until Sala comedian.
You can do it. I don't.
Yeah, I'd rather swear in Punjabi.
Then
It sounds
swear
way
in
more-
Punjabi, like.
I don't care to.
Like this. This podcast is explicit for a reason.
I would rather honestly, I swear in Punjabi a lot more than I swear in English, and it's crazy because I grew up with over 200 languages at my high school, and I grew up with Jamaicans and Italians and Trinis and Caribbean. Like I grew up with everybody, Indians, Gujaratis, and the amount of accents that I can do now because I can pick up on them. I started to incorporate them into my jokes now as well. And the response has been really good with me doing my accents. I don't know where I was going with that point. My brain just farted.
No, it's.
That shouldn't put the like the black people I grew up with. They know what the swear words in Punjabi are
Because you just
It's
by
like-
osmosis from you.
It's like they all grew up with Punjabi people. Like I'd say Punjabi people culturally are closer to black people in terms of music, swearing.
Oh God.
Well, like in terms of rap, like
I
our
know.
music is mostly alcohol, boobs, girls.
Yeah.
Like that's what most of our music is about, right? It's about love and whatever. So.
You will see the greatest mixture of that in soca. Trust me.
Yeah, but the music is a little fast. I'm talking about like if you play Punjabi music next to like a good rap song,
Yeah.
or like R&B song, like when you're on the streets in LA, people like look twice. Like, what was that beat? Right? And it's so nice to see like Diljit out there making music in Los Angeles now and bringing that culture out. So back to like the comedy part, like swearing in Punjabi is so much better, and even like anybody who's not Punjabi knows that too.
But like, I was just gonna say this, since like you want to get more into comedy, like, is there anything?
I already am.
I know, like, I mean, like when like watching it.
I plan on watching a lot more. Like
Yeah.
it's when you're doing comedy, acting, and you're auditioning, and you're cooking and being fit. Like I go to the gym right now with my dad every day. My dad's more excited about the gym than I am.
I've been seeing your Instagram stories. I'm like, that guy he looks so excited to go every
He
single.
is. Honestly, it's been really wonderful for his mental health. And he's up at like 5 in the morning, meditating, doing his breathing exercises. And by 7 o'clock, he's outside for a walk. His pre-workouts before his workout. Like the man's an inspiration to me. He'll call me at 7 o'clock. Are you dressed yet? Did you even put on your clothes or your shoes yet? I'm outside dating. I'm like, I'm coming.
But yeah.
And then we're at the gym at 8 o'clock and we're working out and we're done at 9 and we come home and it's giving me structure and routine and he's inspiring. He's inspiring because I do believe that dedication, persistence, and a routine, it doesn't matter what field you're in, you persevere with persistence. And the more you do something, the better you get at it. And that's the same thing for comedy.
Exactly, because like as everyone says, like doing those open mics is like going to the gym.
Yeah, it's 100%.
Yeah.
And I don't care if comedians laugh or they don't laugh, because I'm not there for them. I'm there for hear my voice. And I feel like I think better out loud. So when I'm in front of the mic, in front of people, I think faster on my feet. And the jokes start resonating. Ideas start pouring out.
Because like you're past the wall that I'm at, because like I have to try, like it's the same thing. Like this comedian named Liam Kelly, he says like I get in my head way too often, and like I'm too worried on what people think of what's.
I'm out there talking to people in the buses. Like I don't care what people think.
Yeah,
of me.
like no, when it comes to my jokes, like as of me and you going right now, I really don't care. but it's like when it comes to like actual like here's my idea and let me try and convey that idea, then that's when, because like in some weird twisted way, that's kind of like my baby. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's a gym. It's my dad started off 10 pounds for 3 weeks. He's now in the 4th week. He's doing 50.
6.
Like he's worked his way up. You know, he did not care that he was the one guy at the gym only pushing 10 pounds, and I was doing more than him. But that didn't happen overnight for me. That took 2 years, like boxing and biking and building my muscles up slowly. So yeah, like comedy is patience and persistence. And so is film and TV. I would say that both of those things are easier than real estate. Real estate is harder than acting.
I would imagine.
No, because in those business, you hardly ever hear the word no directly to your face. As a real estate agent doing door knocking, you hear the word directly when they slam the door in your face or they cuss at you, and it's like actual rejection versus silent rejection. So.
But like, I was gonna say like, so who exactly inspires you in your comedy? It's saying most likely your dad is, and your persistence is what's more...
My comedy comes from real life stories. Like, I should probably be careful that people don't... Not all of my... To be clear, and so this doesn't bite me in the butt in the future, not all of my comedy comes from true stories.
It's a shut.
But it is 90% inspired by real life stories. And I think that the best material comes from what you can resonate or relate with. Because if it's relatable to you, then it's relatable for other people.
Okay. Because, like... How was I gonna say this? Like, for example, like, you want that... what's what I'm looking for? You want it to be very relatable and all that, so, like...
I don't want anything. Again, I go up there and I just talk.
Yeah. And, because, what I mean by, like, inspirations, like, it doesn't even have to be, like, comedic inspirations. Like, for me, like, I flow my stuff, like, in a way like a rap. So, like, I'm very inspired by, like, Tupac.
Funny you say rap. I actually have one rap song that I've ever done. My inspiration just comes from life. Life?
Just like, it could be from anything and anywhere all at once?
Anything that I happen to go through. Therapy is my... It's selfish. I go up on there to be like, you need to listen to my problems up here. I don't care about your problems.
Because, like, I've done that too. Like, it's just like everything that I'm doing on there is just basically my thought patterns.
But I'm also more comfortable if the audience doesn't laugh. Because I'll be like, you can laugh at that joke. It's not racist. You white people here think that what I'm saying might be racist if you laugh. This is a safe space. You're welcome to laugh. And then they laugh. I'm like, wow, I just commanded an entire audience to laugh. It's like monkey dance.
Okay.
Command you to laugh.
Just give me a second. I'm just trying to look at my time. Okay, you are not wrong. I give you like one little tiny thing and you just run off with it. We're already 40 minutes in and we're not even halfway through my questions.
They hit all of them already.
Practically, let me check. So because you already said like
my friend Natasha says I like to talk. My parents say the same thing.
Like, cause like that's the thing. Like you already said like. What do you want your comedy to say? It's very much female empowerment and like
it's South Asian empowerment.
Yeah.
No, man, our parents, like, I'm an immigrant. I came here when I was 4 and a half. And I'm not Indian enough for Indians, and I'm not Indian enough for white people, and I'm not even Indian enough for Indians living here. So, like, where do I fit in? And it's tough. And, you know, you grew up with different cultures. Like, my parents are very conservative. The rest of my university was wild and sexually open. And then there's a whole LGBTQ and gay and lesbian community. And then there's a community that is, you know, very nerdy that I grew up with. So, like, I didn't know where I fit in. And it was really hard to figure out where I fit in. And then when I became an actor, and I was like, everyone's just like, you're weird. I grew up with everyone calling me weird. And I was like, I'm weird because do I talk to myself? I do talk to myself a lot. I spend a lot of time with my own thoughts because I drive a lot. I live really far from the city, so I'm oftentimes in traffic. If I'm not listening to a podcast, I'm usually thinking. I love being able to drive in silence. People find it very
I thought I was the only one.
No, because like, when I used to drive for one of those car services, I'm not going to say which one, maybe all of them. But one of the people,
part of the 75 different jobs.
One of the female drivers, like, I've also been a chauffeur. It was one of the other jobs I've had for celebrity. Drove one of rapper in Toronto around to like different studios. But I got tired of listening to the radio. And then just one day when I quit that job, I just turned the radio off and I was like, oh my gosh, I pulled the plug. And I could just hear my thoughts. And then thoughts started drowning out and I could just sit comfortably in my silence and alone. And I wouldn't even notice the traffic. And like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like this peacefulness that exists. And then now I can turn the music back on. And I'm not anxious. I'm fine with it or with it off. It's fine. So.
I know what you're talking about. It's like kind of like that sense of well-being that like you have that peace. Because
you're just weird because you're talking to yourself in the car. Most times I'm actually just learning lines while I'm driving as safely as I can for acting auditions. I learn my lines the best while I'm driving because it's the safest space I feel safe. It's like my four walls, because I live in a house with like 7, 8 people. When I was growing up, I lived in a house with 20 people. I don't know what privacy is. Like, privacy is not a word that exists when you live in a house with 20 people.
Oh, you lived in one of those houses. I understand what you're talking about.
All your aunties and uncles
and
exactly,
yeah.
Like a brother and sister, like everybody. I grew up with everybody. My house was like a hostel, like literally. And when I went to university, I could never live alone. I needed to be around people. I studied the best in busy environments. I functioned the best when busy environments. Even now that I live at home with my folks, it's I function the best in loud, crowded environments. But when I want to work on something that I think people might judge me for, even though I say I don't care what anybody thinks, when it comes to my art and I'm still working on it, whether it's my comedy or acting, I lock myself in my car and it's my safe space and it's where I can be me. If I lived on my own, it'd probably be my own apartment, right? But I don't have that luxury. And so me and my car, it's my safe space. And I have the windows up and I can learn my lines out loud in whatever accent I want. And it's so great that everyone has Bluetooth headphones now. So no one thinks I'm crazy and talking to myself. I just look like I'm talking to somebody on the phone.
I'm the opposite. Like, I just talk to myself in the car all the time.
No, I'm usually working my jokes in my head or working on like my lines and going over them. So like that, a lot of my best work is done in my car before I ever get to stage because I have 45 minutes to prep when I'm driving there. I don't need the music. I just need my own voice in my head, and I'll talk out loud and practice it. Or I'll listen to some of my clips on the radio and listen to old playbacks to refresh. But that's my safe space. So I don't know what was the question that you asked? I got off topic.
It's no problem. Like, this is like, I'm getting the inner workings of your mind, and it's actually like really fascinating. I love it.
I'm not a science experiment.
You're not a science experiment, but it's just like, technically, aren't we all?
I hope not.
On a technical level. Because, like, I was just saying that we already went through what your comedy wanted to say, and you said you wanted more South Asian, like, empowerment.
I think that's what it's becoming, but I have no clue. Again, it's a lot of my context comes from personal experiences. So.
And you already said where you want to take this. You want to have one day that Netflix special. You don't think you're going to get it, but you'd want it. It'd
be cool to have, just to be like, yo, I did a Netflix special, but I don't really care if I don't get it. It's like, it's not going to make or break my... Like, I know there's some comedians who want that. Like, that's their dream. But again, I don't think I'm funny. I am not doing this to get fame. This is like... You know how people go clubbing?
Yeah.
I go clubbing on stage to my comedy. Like... I don't know how to explain it. I feel free. It's like I'm dancing, but dancing with my words. It's therapeutic. It's meditative. I'm in a trance. I'm connected to the audience, and I'm just in flow. And I feel the same with my acting as well. Like, I love acting because I'm not saying that I don't love myself. I do. But getting to play other people and putting on other shoes and exploring other lives that I've never lived is fun. And I think I just love storytelling in general, whether it's through comedy or through acting. And through me, comedy, I don't think I'm funny because I feel like I'm just telling stories. And if my stories make you laugh and they make you feel something, that's great. I'm not in it for the whatever reasons that everybody else has. I know a lot of my comedian friends want that special, and I've also learned you can make really good money with comedy. I didn't know this. I was like, wait, why am I struggling trying to be a homeless real estate agent on the side when I could just be doing comedy shows? So that's kind of cool. But again, what I would love more than a Netflix special is to be a lead on a movie or TV series, like, you know, with actors like, or even a Marvel. Like, I would love to do a Marvel film or those superheroes like Kick-Ass.
Yeah. Oh, Kick-Ass is an amazing movie. I love that.
I was just talking about just being able to kick people's asses. Like, how many brown people just get to like go around beating people up and saving the world, other than Miss Marvel?
Let me think here. Brown people doing that.
Well, Priyanka Chopra did it in, what was that movie? I don't know. She did this FBI show. Priyanka Chopra's definitely made waves in cinema for South Asian women, and it's awesome. And I would just like to see more leading ladies in South Asian. And she's breaking cultural stereotypes where she's not just playing typical characters that have anything to do with being brown. She's just playing a character, living life. Just because I'm Indian doesn't mean I sit and like smell like curry and chutney walking down the street like.
And you don't make your roti, you'll never get married.
It's not that. I'm saying like, if Joe and Heather can walk down the street and just be Joe and Heather, and they're North American, I'm closer to North American culture than I am to Indian culture, right? Like Ashwin, comedian, Harv, the comedian, the Timbit guy, what's his name? Punjabi Timbit?
Yeah, there's
So other comedians in Toronto, like, those guys are actually from India, and they immigrated here at a later age, like, they can resonate closer to India than I can. I can't resonate with India. I went to India and I was like, Mom, why are people shitting on the street? Like, but like, India's a beautiful country. But there are things about that country make me feel insecure because I feel like it's still a male-dominated country. And certain parts of India are great for women. I was told I constantly had to be with a male accompany. And I'm like, what are we living in, like, 18th century all of a sudden again? So I'm more Canadian and American than I am to being able to relate to Indians. Like, I can't be that shy, seedhi saadi ladki that brings tea to the table for a matchmaking ceremony, you know? Like, the rishta stuff, like, I can't, I'm not that. I'm the complete opposite. My mom's like, if anybody ever came for chai to meet you, they wouldn't even drink the chai, they would just leave, because you would scare them away. Tum bhagha dungi unko, like you'll run away.
I'm not running away, I'm right here.
Why would I serve them tea? I serve them coffee, because I can make coffee. And why would we have an arranged marriage, like?
Oh, she's going down that road.
Yeah, I forget you're not brown. Okay.
I am brown. What the?
You got on the wrong boat, man.
Okay. When the boat came, we went on. Okay, but there's a whole different story, and I'm making a bit about that one because it's actually.
It's okay. A friend of mine told me those because you guys came as laborers.
Yeah.
But I was like, did you know you were laborers or were you slavery? Like, did you know which it was?
Okay, Liv, want me to go on the story about this one? Why my family came here? Okay.
What time is it? Oh, it's late.
Yeah, it's okay. Like, just let me know. We can wrap this up whenever you want.
Yeah. What else? Do you have anything else?
No, I'll go into the story of why my family came here.
Edit it in.
Okay, edit it in. Okay, never mind. Okay, I'll talk about. It's a bit that I'm going to do on a show anyways. So you know what? I'm not going to do that. But we'll end it off with this. Plug your stuff. Like, where do people want to find you?
Do you have any other questions?
No. Just
answered all of them.
You answered every single one in lightning succession without me bringing them up.
What was the question? Sorry.
Okay, just plug your stuff. Like, what shows are you doing? Where do people find you? Where do people see you?
Just go to IMDb for the list of credits for acting, I guess. I get so uncomfortable when people ask me what credits I have under my
Not
name.
what credits, like what you're doing now.
Oh, what am I doing now? I try not to be unemployed times 3, which is in my comedy.
Okay.
The writers are on strike, so acting's kind of like on stagnant. Comedy, it's really nice when people just ask you to do a comedy show now. So I got 2 shows coming up on the 24th with Harv, June 16th with Mickey from the Comedy Lab.
Oh, okay.
And it's nice when more and more comedians start like recognizing your shows and your content, and they're like, you've really come 6 months in, right? Like, everyone has a different pace of like they're growing. I'm trying to get to an hour of comedy material. I would say that I have a solid 20 minutes.
Well, we're on the same boat, yeah. Okay.
Solid that I can just get up there and like crush it by putting those materials together. I have a solid 10, a solid 15. It's, again, I'm not doing it for length.
You're doing it for you.
I love it. It's so fun. It's like if you gave me a Ferrari and got me to do circles around on like a speed track, I would do it because that's what comedy feels like. It's just fun. It's like you literally have said, Jas, I give you permission to talk. You know how many people in my whole life have just told me to shut up? Like, Jas, you talk too much, shut up. But on stage, I get a designated amount of time to talk, and it's awesome.
And
I'm not
that's
saying that I talk a lot, it's not a bad thing. I've come down a lot.
no, it's not bad or anything like that. I actually enjoy that you actually like took charge of this whole thing, because you have no idea how many of the comedians were just said, I don't know what to talk about. I'm like, and you just went like that, and I love it. I love it. But at the same time, I'm like, you'll be fine doing all this. I know, because you might not think you're funny. I think you're funny.
Oh, thank you.
But what?
I guess, I don't know. Again, it's like being an actor. It's like, you have to have the confidence in your work to like, yeah, no, I can do these roles and I can take them on. But how it's judged and perceived by fans is completely different, right?
Perception.
But it's not for them. I mean, it's great that people will come watch that stuff, but I'm doing the art for myself to tell stories. And if someone gives me that opportunity to tell my story, then I will, right, through that narrative.
Yeah, it's like, because you have like an ebb and, like I've seen you on stage, you kind of have an ebb and flow, and you know what you want to talk about, you know, and it comes to you really quickly.
It's like a growth fruit list, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is funny. I went on stage recently on my own show that I produced, and I had like a bullet point, and I still had 7 minutes, and I'd gone through some of my jokes. I think I was a little too fast on some of the punchlines. Whatever, it happens.
It happens, yeah.
And then I was like looking at my list of my grocery list, and I looked down quickly, glanced down on this little scrap paper, and it said parking. I'm like, okay, guys, I'm gonna leave you with one more joke tonight. I read parking out loud, and I come back to them like, parking. My brain farted, and I was like, I hope you all got a good parking spot tonight, because it's Toronto. All right, guys, have a good night. And then like someone came up to me at the end of the night, and they're like, hey, it was really nice seeing you tonight. You were really funny. I was gonna leave you with one thing tonight. Parking. And so it just became a running joke at the end of the night.
It's sometimes even
they all laugh. It's just awkward.
Sometimes people like that awkward laugh. It's every room's different.
It was just funny.
Yeah, no worries. And what else? So her handles are in the bottom of the screen, and so you have. Can you give us the name of the shows and the dates, or?
Harv Show, which is like they see Harv and Friends or something, and then Nikki at Comedy Lab. I think I don't know what TBA is. Her show is called TBA.
Just call it Tab.
Tab?
Yeah, just call it Tab, I guess.
I don't know. I got Thirsty Tap maybe. I don't know. I have to look it up.
No worries.
But, like,
you can look it up right now if you want.
Actually, the show that I'm trying to organize right now is I want to organize an entire South Asian lineup of women. If I can find that many South Asian comedians in Toronto, and have like a Mirchi Garam Masala comedy show put on of like spiciness, like an entire night of spiciness, and get an entire crew of Desi people to come out and see the show of like, yo, let's rip the band-aid off sexuality, like let's just talk about sex when our parents didn't let us talk about it.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so that's what I want to do next. That's probably the show that I'm thinking of making next. Doesn't have to be all about sex. It could just be talking about anything that we just couldn't talk about as like growing up, or whatever resonates with you being brown and like being told that you can't do that. So, like holding hands makes babies. Like that's how I learned about sex. Was like, you two people hold hands, baby come.
I'm just imagining that right now.
Right? Like, how can your hands give birth to a baby? Like,
semen.
I believe that, though, for the longest time.
What?
In Bollywood, the videos would come on, they'd hold hands or they'd touch each other. My dad would fast forward. I'm like, oh, they're having babies. My dad also told that Mr. Bean was dead. And then his movie came out, and I'm like, Daddy, Mr. Bean's movie's out. He's like, that is fine. They made it before he died. So I told all my friends that Mr. Bean was dead till high school. And it wasn't until like first year that I realized that my dad had it wrong. Because you can Google things. So I Googled it. I'm like, Dad, Mr. Bean's still alive. He's like, oh, I thought he died. No.
He didn't even fact check that.
Do you know how long I believed this like lie for and told everybody else that I was right? And I was dead certain about this?
Basically, Mr. Bean was a hologram to your dad.
He's like, they brought him, they filmed all this stuff before he died. I'm like, yeah, Dad, so is Elvis. Elvis is still alive too.
Okay, I guess I'll plug my stuff too. Let me think here.
I don't have any plugs. I don't even know what that means. You guys have different lingo than just this generation.
I'm like only like 4 years younger than you.
I don't know. You don't know how old I am. It's nobody's business.
Okay,
well,
like I crashed and burned at the end. But like at the same time, like we're not that much. We're practically the same generation. Plug means.
Nope. Wrap it up is a nice term. Let's wrap it up.
Okay, let's wrap it up. Okay, I have one show this month. It's going to be at Up Your Kilt in Brampton. I'm going to be performing there with some. I'll probably try and do some new stuff up there and change up my lineup. And until then, I would say that's it. I'd like to thank Jas for coming out today and telling us everything she could say within...
Well, as much as I could without getting into too many intrusive personal details.
And that's no problem.
You can hear my comedy anyways. And yeah, I'm excited to get my ass up in the morning and go to the gym again tomorrow. Last night I went to bed at 3:30 because I was watching, Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah.
So...
Oh, number 42.
Yeah, I've been listening to a lot of podcasts lately, and he talked about his prep work for 42, and I was just really inspired. So I was like, I'm going to make an effort to watch that tomorrow night after work.
Oh, you're going to
I was doing my Joe job last night, and I came home, made a quick, random dinner, because like I'm on a strict diet right now. I'm trying to drop 5 more pounds. Like I'm trying to be lean, cut, and ripped. It's because I used to bulk, and I did. And nobody tells you when you're working out that 3,000 calories is a little too much. Yeah, I didn't know that. I was having like 4 cups of rice with 4 cups of dal, like every day. And I was like, I bulked up to 140 pounds. Like, I was like, yo. And my friends were like, yeah, gal, you're thick, gal, you're thick, gal. And I'm like,
was that West Indian people?
I can't afford to buy a whole new wardrobe. Something needs to change. As I calculated, I was eating too much. So then I cut my calories to 1,500, which was hard. I felt like I was starving myself. I started burning the fat, got to like 125, and then I was like, nah, I want to go real lean. So now I've cut my calories even more, and I'm eating a lot of protein and veggies, and this is a very particular diet, what I'm eating, and the first few times was really hard, cutting the fat and everything out. Now it's like 4 weeks in, it's like, if anytime I want something sweet, I just have fruit. I'm restricting myself not to, instead of black and buying myself a large popcorn with all the butter. But anyways, like, I don't know. I go on off tangents a lot.
It's no problem. Like, I'm fine. You were talking about like, we were talking about language and like.
Okay,
no, I was talking about like you say you just use wrap it up, and I'm like I say plug.
No, not language. I was talking about like the only thing I have like that I look forward to right now these days is
you're working out.
The comedy and the acting, but we sometimes forget that our parents and I love my dad. On a serious note, that we don't really have that much time with our family. So spend every ounce of it you can with them, because you don't know how long they have. The older they get, the harder it's going to be for them to do things. And so it's really nice. I get to go to the gym with my dad every day, and he gets my ass up in the morning to go. And so that's what I was trying to say. I went to bed at 3:30 in the morning. And I felt like I almost had a heart attack this morning, because it's like 6:45, my phone's ringing off the hook. 4 missed calls. I'm like, hello? You not awake yet? What? Dad, it's Saturday. And he's like, so? Let's go to gym. I have to go to wedding at 10 o'clock. And I'm like,
a wedding?
Yeah, I had a wedding to attend at 10 o'clock in the morning at the Gurdwara. I'm like, Dad, let's just skip. No, let's go. I'm outside waiting. I'm like, okay, I'm coming. Got ready in 10 minutes. I was like out the door. I'm like, here's the keys. You drive. I'm gonna nap. Wait.
Okay, so speaking of family, next week we will not be airing another show because I will go be visiting my family next week. No, Niagara.
Oh.
No, I will be down in Niagara. I'll just be spending time with them.
Just interview your family. That'd be a cool podcast.
I don't want to.
It'd be funny.
Oh God, no! Like, my mom, like, on her very limited grasp of English.
Perfect. Make it for like the audience. What does she speak?
She speaks Tagalog. My mom's Filipino.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You're not brown at all, dude.
I'm half Trini. You see, this is you said you were talking about not fitting anywhere. This is how I feel. Okay, I don't fit in anywhere. I was not Filipino enough for my Filipino side. I wasn't Trini enough for my Trini side.
I'm just playing.
I know, but I'm just saying.
I'm gonna wrap this up with you.
Okay, because you have to go.
I have a big day tomorrow. I got a baby shower to attend. One of my friends had an oopsie, so I'm gonna attend their diaper party tomorrow.
Oh.
And then I got a board game party in the park, and I have to also be up at 7 o'clock in the morning to go to the gym
With your dad.
on a Sunday. There's no sleeping in anymore.
That was supposed to be a day of
I've
rest.
created a motivational dad who is turned into a motivational monster. He loves the gym. He's made friends at the gym, and he sees them every day, Monday to Friday, at the gym at a specific time. He's in the corner, huddled with all the people in the corners working out together.
That's actually pretty great, and I'm so happy for your dad because he's taking charge of his health. He's feeling. You said it's done wonders for his mental health and everything like that.
Yeah, he's doing great. My mental health is good too. I just act like a zombie, get up, brush my teeth. I actually go to bed in my gym clothes now so that I can just get up somewhere, just wake up when he screams at me, and I just I'm ready to go.
Okay, since you have places to go and people to see and places to be, I'm gonna stop this right now. It's been great, guys.
How many viewers?
I don't know. Either way, I'm still uploading this to Spotify.
Oh, if anyone saw this, hi.
Bye, guys, and that's been Jas Dhanda. You guys be sweet.